राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसो सुरभूप सियावर राम जय जय राम।
नयना हे माधवा, कमल नयना हे माधवा, करुणा सागर कालिय मर्दन, करुणा सागर कालिय मर्दन, हे दयाळु कृष्णा अनंत रूपा अनंत नामा, अनंत रूपा अनंत नामा, आदिमूला नारायणा, आदिमूला नारायणा, अनंत शयना हे करुणाकर, अनंत शयना हे करुणाकर, कमल नयना हे माधवा, कमल नयना हे माधवा, करुणा सागर कालिय मर्दन, करुणा सागर कालिय मर्दन, हे दयाळु कृष्णा
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambattvamanusandadhami Bhagavat Gite Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedaistangapadakramaupanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita manasa Pashyanti Yan Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. The subject matter of this 18th chapter is, as we say, sannyasa, renunciation. And renunciation is, in fact, the theme of the entire Bhagavad Gita. But then this chapter is specifically called the Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Moksha through sannyasa. Sannyasa here means Vidvat Sannyasa. Sannyasa here means the knowledge that I am actionless. Sannyasi is the one who is renunciated. The Atma is always sannyasi. Asangaha, unconnected. Nishkriyaha, actionless. So ideally what a sannyasi is, no sannyasi can be as ideal as that. You're totally actionless, totally unconnected, detached. Atma, the self, is therefore a sannyasi, a renunciate in primary sense, you can say. And abiding in the knowledge of this self is the primary sannyasa called Vidvat sannyasa, renunciation by virtue of knowledge. So Lord Krishna is not teaching here in Bhagavad Gita sannyasa, renunciation of the nature of giving up karma, etc., changing your costume, etc. That kind of sannyasa Lord Krishna essentially is not teaching here. Well, that is implied, that's a different thing, but then in so many words Lord Krishna does not say anywhere that you give up your duties. He wants us to give the kartrutvam, the doership, which is the product of ignorance. Basically, the problem is not karma. Problem is the sense of doership. And we said yesterday, this was said in the 3rd chapter itself, that prakrutehe kriyamanani gunehi karmani sarvasah. Sarvasah karmani kriyante. In all the way the karma, the actions are performed by prakrutehe gunehi, by the modification of prakriti, which is by body, mind, sense complex. That is what performs the karma. Ahankara vimudhatma kartaha vidimanyate. One who is identified with his body, sense, mind complex thinks that I am the Atma is performing karma. This notion of I am performing karma is a notion which arises from identifying the I am with the body mind. Therefore, the karma, the actions performed by this costume are taken to be the actions performed by the self, which is the wearer of the costume. And therefore, kartrutva, that I am a doer, that is the basic problem, and that is what binds us. Karma does not bind us, kartrutvam, the sense of doership, binds us. So that we do not have to become free from karma, we have to become free from kartrutva, the sense of doership, which is the result of ignorance. Arjuna thought that by giving up karma, that will become a sannyasi. Lord Krishna said in the 3rd chapter, Na karmanam anarambhat naishkarmyam purushoshnute. Here Arjuna, one does not gain naishkarmya, moksha, by renunciation of karma. Not performing karma, one does not become free from karma. Nor by renunciation of karma does one become free. Because karma does not bind. Therefore, whether you perform karma or not, it is not a sign of bondage or liberation. Whether you have the kartrutvam, sense of doership, that is what connects Atma with karma. The karma is itself being performed by the body-mind complex, Atma in presence of Atma. The identification, kartrutvam, the doership is what in fact as though connects the Atma with the karma, and that's how we get accountable for the result, and that's how the karma phala, the cause and effect chain, I am bound. Therefore, even if you give up karma, doesn't mean that you become free as long as you retain kartrutva, the sense of doership. As long as you retain that, giving up karma doesn't do anything. Therefore, Arjuna thought that by giving up karma, I'll become free. He thought that the karma binds me. Lord Krishna says karma does not bind you. If something binds you, it is kartrutvam, sense of doership. See, Arjuna, you must become free from that. And that sense of doership is the result of ignorance of the self, and therefore knowledge of a self, that self is actionless, is what removes that notion. So karma becomes therefore something to be understood very well. So that first I perform the karma properly, and Lord Krishna teaches that performing karma properly becomes a means of becoming free from karma. Not by giving up karma that you become free from karma, but by performing karma properly, you gain a maturity. You gain the purification of mind. You gain the maturity. You gain the detachment. And when you discover detachment, then it doesn't matter whether you perform karma or not. So, this is what Lord Krishna wants to teach, that it is not absence of karma, it is absence of attachment. Absence of doership, and before that, absence of attachment is what we have to attain. So, karma does not bind, the attachment binds. The doership binds. And that's the reason why, in the verses that we are studying here, Lord Krishna is describing the anatomy of karma. all the various factors involved in performance of karma, so that first of all we learn how to perform karma properly, and that becomes a means of becoming free from karma. You know that pole vault. When the pole itself becomes a means of becoming free from pole. You take that pole, lift yourself to the height of say 5 feet, drop it, and then you cross that barrier. So the pole itself becomes a means of becoming free from pole, if you handle it properly. Otherwise you can fall down, anything, but if you handle. Similarly, karma itself becomes a means of making us free from karma if you perform karma properly. Everybody performs karma and then we get more entangled. The way people function in life is result in more entanglement. Swami, in this samsara we are all trapped. But there is no need for that. That is why Lord Krishna says how to perform karma, how to conduct ourselves, how to perform our day-to-day activity, how to perform vyavahara. So that the vyavahara becomes an empowerment rather than a bondage. Your life becomes a means of your emotional and spiritual growth. That life becomes, karma becomes means of happiness. Most people complain, Swami, my prarabdha, this is what I have to do. What can I do? When will I retire? When will I become free? You do not retire by just giving up karma. You don't know what to do. People think that, okay, so I am going to take voluntary retirement. In India, this is a scheme. VRS, Voluntary Retirement Scheme. As it is, retirement in India is only 58 years. Some place 60 years. There also people want to retire early. At 55 years, 54 years, 53 years, I want to give up karma. After that, what do? He is working in bank, he is retired. Now what does he do? He goes to the same bank now. To now gossip with the same fellows, but he is now on the other side. So these fellows say, please don't come here. So you become useless, become spare. Your wife says, now better go to sannyasa and go to Vedanta classes, please. Don't stay home, don't bother me. Because he's at home, keeps on instructing her, So I know what my job is, and therefore you please go. That is how people start going to sannyasa ashram where all Vedanta classes are going on. These people. So that is not the way to give up things or become free. Give up or not give up is not the point. To become free is the point. A person gives up his karma, wants to retire, so that he wants to become free. He discovers he has not become free. Freedom is not in action. Freedom is here in the right attitude. And this is what Lord Krishna wants to teach. So first of all, on the page 3, in the verse 6, Lord Krishna said, Niyatam sangarahitam aragadveshatah krutam afala prepsuna karma yattat sattvigamuchyate. How should you perform karma to become free from karma? If we do not perform karma properly, we get more entangled. Karma does not entangle. Our wrong relationship or wrong attitudes make us more entangled. Therefore, how to perform karma means how to perform your duties, how to perform your day-to-day activities. Niyatam, we have discussed this, I am just briefly summarizing. First of all, niyatam, you must do what is right in a given situation. What your duty is. What is duty? Duty means a right response to a given situation. Every situation calls for a response from us. This situation calls for a response from me, a proper response from me. Merely talking is not my job. But then, so not only speaking, that I have an audience in front of me, and first of all, I respect that audience. I respect they are all here to learn, and therefore it is my duty to share with them whatever understanding I have. So, respecting them, sharing with them, and enjoying that process. Meaning that if we do anything properly, we enjoy what we are doing. This is what Lord Krishna wants. Enjoy what you are doing. Every karma can give you rasa. Rasa means a pleasure. Learn to gain pleasure or happiness out of what you do. So 6th verse is niyatam. First of all, do what is right in a situation. What is expected out of you? What is your duty? Meaning, what is expected out of you? Every situation expects a certain response from me, and therefore, may you display a proper response to a situation. See, I have a dignity. I am father, or I am mother, I am son, I am daughter. Each one is a role having its own dignity. Father has a dignity, mother has a dignity, son has dignity, daughter, wife, son-in-law, whoever it is, everybody has a dignity. And then number one, we should act in a dignified way, that which behooves of us, behooves of a father, behooves of a mother, behooves of a son or daughter or whatever role I have. First of all, I must perform action that behooves of me. There must be dignity in everything that I do. That's called niyatam karma, the karma that is right to do. Sangarahitam, with detachment. What is detachment? Without any consideration of what I will gain out of this. What is in it for me? Without that calculation of what is in it for me. No, you don't do something because something in it for me. You do something because it is your pleasure to do something. This is an occasion for you to make an offering. A karma yogi looks upon every occasion as an occasion of making an offering or whatever he has. Everybody has something. Everybody has got something. It may be in terms of knowledge, wisdom, skill, time, activity, strength, labor, whatever, something one has. And no karma is superior, and in karma yoga, no action is superior, no action is inferior. Every action is equally great if it is done with proper attitude. Therefore, in the Western countries, a president of a big company may take a round in the morning and may go to his workshop and he shakes hands with a person working on lathe or labor. Not in India. Boss is coming, boss is coming. Everybody is scared and they prepare. So here there is dignity because even though he is the chief executive, he respects for what that person is. Meaning that everything that we do is respectable. There is no drudgery, there is no inferior work. That I am doing the dishes of inferior and I am, breadwinner, the superior, etc. In karma, there is nothing inferior, nothing superior. Every karma is dignified. And thus act with dignity. Let everything that you do reflect, your signature. Oh, he must have done this. So when you receive a letter, the address that is written on the envelope, from that you know who must have, because there are some people who scrub. I don't know how postmen, understand what is written there. And some people write so beautifully. So there is a way of doing everything. And do it that way, properly. Niyatam, sangarahitam. That way you will enjoy karma, then what is in it? So ultimately what you want is happiness. If you get happiness in doing what you are doing, then what the outcome is will not be of any consequence. Outcome is in future. Why should you postpone your happiness for future? Why don't you enjoy the karma in the present? Ragadveshatah kritam. That I do not perform an action because I like something and therefore I favor that one, I hate this one and therefore I am partial to this and I am cruel to this. So very often partiality and cruelty get expressed in our activities, in our vyavhara. I don't like. And that automatically gets reflected in what I do. The body language will say that. I'm partial to, just a funny example. This girl, young girl, got married. Now she is in her in-laws' place and husband and wife they are living. And her brother is now visiting. He is invited for dinner, for lunch. So in those days, you offer ghee. When it comes to husband, like this, when it comes to brother, automatically more ghee is poured when it comes to her brother because she is not yet developed any relation with her husband. It will take time, if at all it happens, but then she loves her brother. So that partiality shows up. So this partiality and cruelty, aragadveshatah kritam, don't allow your action to be influenced by this partiality and cruelty. But Swami, I hate this, I don't like that person. But here they give the example, in typical wedding reception in India, there are hundreds of people come, reception. And you are a friend of the bridegroom, therefore you are appointed at the gate to receive the guests. In the olden days, then, there's one rose flower, and there was something here, you sprinkle little rose water on everybody. It's a typical thing. I am the bridegroom's friend and I'm appointed to do that. And so many people come in. I know many of them. Some of them I like, some of them I don't like. So when somebody who comes that I like, more rose water gets sprinkled and the rose is offered. When somebody comes I do not like, I just, as though I have not seen, I look in some different place. So our inner feelings get expressed in the way we do things. Aragadveshatah kritam. You are appointed to receive everybody. Whether you like them or not, you must offer a rose and sprinkle water, or rose water on them. So every situation that comes is like that. Whether I like this, I don't like it, no, my job is to equally welcome everything. Aragadveshatah kritam apala prepsuna karma. And by doing that, what is my personal reward is not a consideration. Yet this is the ideal way of performing karma. This is done by a person who enjoys predominance of sattva. What does that mean? You'll see later. But predominance of sattva means that he gets inner satisfaction. When mind becomes sattvic, I am comfortable with myself, I am happy with myself. Therefore, the need of seeking happiness from outside is not there. We want to be happy. If I get happiness from my own self, then I don't need to make anything else as a means of happiness. Therefore, I don't need any phala, I don't need any reward. Yat tat satvika muchyate. So this is an ideal condition. So this is how an ideal karma yogi functions. And but if we, Swamiji, I don't have sattva, therefore fake it till you, meaning that you deliberately adopt these attitudes. Even though your mind has preferences, you say no raga, no dvesha, no partiality, no cruelty. Mind says, I want this. No, you are not going to have it. Do things, make karma as your contribution. So then I have to work with my mind because my mind comes up with its own original old things, coming from greed and coming from insecurity, etc. I do not entertain that. Instead, place these attitudes. That's called faking. This I do even though I don't feel that way. I don't feel impartial to this person, but I do it, I show it anyway. In course of time, make it means it will become my nature. It may take a whole lifetime, or it may take several lifetimes, I do not know. But to whatever extent this comes in our life, to that extent we grow, to that extent we are happy. This is the only way of becoming happy. We will learn little later that happiness is nature of self. So Lord Krishna is teaching us how to tap the happiness from your own self. This is the way. Performing my duties, karma, my all interactions in this way, or the extent to that which I can do, I'll tap happiness from my own self. Therefore I would not need anything else to make me happy. Now let us go to page number 5. And go to verse number 9. Essentially same person is described. Karma yoga is described. That there sattvic karma was described. Now the sattvic karta is described. Karta means the performer of karma. So earlier verse that we discussed described the sattvic karma. This one describes the sattvic karta, same description. So let us read the verse number 9. Mukta sango naham vadi dhrutyutsaha samanvitaha siddhya siddhyor nirvikaraha karta satvika uchyate. Understand that these are our values which we are trying to put into practice. And we won't be able to put them into practice in totality. We try to put them into practice and slowly grow into them. So is a karma yogi, sattvic karta. Karta means a performer of action. Sattvic means one who enjoys the predominance of sattva in his mind. It is a description of sattva guna really. Even when the sattvic karma is described, sattva is described with reference to karma. When sattvic karta is described, sattva is described with reference to karta. Mukta sangha anaham vadi dhruti utsaha samanvitaha siddhya siddhyo nirvikaraha. These 4 attributes of a sattvic karta or karma yogi are given here. So these are told to us so that we can also slowly try to cultivate these qualities because they are all there in us. What Lord Krishna is asking us to do is there in each one of us. Meaning sattva guna is our basic nature, by the way. The basic nature of mind is sattva guna, is purity. The rajas and tamas are called impurities, they are intruders, they are, they are not the nature of the mind. Just as purity is the nature of water, if you find dirt in that, it is an extraneous matter, not inherent to water. Just as water is inherently pure, and impurity is something that is incidental, and therefore we can remove that. Similarly also, our mind is inherently pure. Meaning that each one of us is inherently a kind, beautiful person. We are all saints by nature. By nature, we have the potential of becoming saints. This verse 9 describes a saint, how he would perform, how he would conduct himself or herself. But that potential each one of us has. It is not the privilege of some people alone to be able to do, we can also grow into that. Lord Krishna would not ask us to do this had it not been possible for us. The scriptures would not ask us to speak truth if speaking truth was not possible. Understand that truth is the nature of the self and truth is the nature of the mind also. So speaking truth should be very natural to us. Right now it has become unnatural, looks like, because of ignorance and because of the other intruders, therefore looks like speaking truth is so difficult. Saying being honest is very tough, very difficult. Although that should have been natural to us. But because these intruders, the raga, dvesh, attachment, aversions, all the evils have entered into us, the kama, krodha, lobha, the lust and anger and greed, we thought they were our friends. When they came knocking at the door, we thought they were friends, and therefore we allowed them in. And now they have become the bosses. And they control my mind. They become the rulers. I don't know how to get out of, so this is a way to get rid of them. So inadvertently I have allowed them to enter me thinking that they were my friends. See, sometimes anger also becomes a friend, sometimes like a child. Growing up in a family with several siblings and they're all elder, and so sometimes they harass the child. This one screams loudly, so they all stay away. So now he knows the screaming is a way to keep them away. He gets angry. So he gets things done out of anger, and then he thinks that now anger is a way to get things. That is how anger takes hold of me. At one point in time, I found anger to be my friend, and that because I could get what I wanted through anger, through throwing tantrums. So I thought that's the way to do. And therefore, I used those methods whenever other things did not work. And now, they rule me. Now to get rid of them, after understanding this. And that's the reason why these things are difficult. Otherwise, what Lord Krishna describes is what we already are. Sattva is our nature. Mind is made up of sattva. So we are all, as I said, nothing but saints by essential nature. If some demoniac tendencies are there in us, they are only intruders and not essential. They are incidental, not essential, and therefore we can get rid of them. So, a sattvic karta, an ideal karma yogi is described, mukta sangha, free from attachment. This is found everywhere, free from attachment. What attachment? Attachment to the reward, basically. So, Lord Krishna has identified one entity where we always easily get attached, and that is the outcome of the action. Usually a person performs action not for the love of action. We do something for the love of the reward that that action will bring me. That's a usual thing. Because we think that happiness has to come from outside. We think that happiness has to come from outside. When will I become happy? When I get something desirable. How can I get something desirable? When I perform an action. Then the result will bring me desirable thing. Therefore, I am looking upon actions only as means of getting desirable things so that I can become happy. Thus, I am always dependent upon things outside of myself. There is no guarantee that when I perform an action that it will necessarily bring me the outcome that I want. It's uncertain. Action is controlled by me, but the outcome is controlled by so many factors. Some of the factors I know, some of the factors I don't know. Our Swami used to tell a funny example, how BJP lost election in Delhi many years ago. What is the reason you know? The price of onions. Can you believe that? Can somebody lose election because of onions? Price of onions? Onion is a very, staple thing for most people. When the prices skyrocketed, they were all very unhappy, complained, and they threw out the government. We imagine. Onions, they became the factor for losing election. What I am saying is you do not know what factors will influence the outcome. Performance of action is within our control, and we can reasonably predict what the outcome will be, but there are many known and unknown variables that may control the outcome. The outcome is uncertain. We have no control over outcome. This is a reality. So coming back to our prayer, Lord, give me the serenity to accept what I cannot control. What can I not control? And give me the courage to do what I control. Karma is what I can control, so give me courage to perform my karma rightly. That requires courage to do, to speak truth, to be honest, to be hardworking, to be sincere, to serve somebody, help somebody, share with somebody. All of this requires, that's not easy. Give me the courage to do what is right. And the outcome I do not know, I don't control. So give me the serenity to accept gracefully what I cannot control. Meaning that, give me the serenity to accept gracefully the outcome of my action, because I don't control that. So let us understand this. In every situation, there is something that we control and something that we do not control. What do we control? What we do is or should be under our control, not always. Should be. We have the free will. Although whenever we act out of anger, greed, jealousy, then we have no freedom at all. The free will is now delegated to anger and greed and jealousy. They control. Otherwise, I have the free will and decide what to do, what not to do, how to do. But outcome I do not control because it is controlled by laws of karma. And I can predict the outcome, and then we should predict, and accordingly we should plan our action. Nobody says you perform an action without any goal. Yes, there is an objective. I want my action to be successful, no doubt. I want my action to produce a desirable result, that also is correct. But still there is also a fact that I do not control the outcomes. I do not know what the outcome will be. So Lord Krishna teaches an attitude. Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. This tells us attitude towards karma and karma phala. Karmanyavadikaraste, you have adhikara, you have the freedom, you have the responsibility to perform karma. Therefore, perform karma in a responsible manner, in a dignified manner, in a manner that behooves of you. in a manner where you make it your opportunity to offer something, share something, contribute something. That's our responsibility. Ma phaleshu kadachana. As far as phala, the outcome is concerned, you don't control. So, the attitude towards what we control and attitude towards what we do not control. Karma we control. So what's the attitude? It's my responsibility. That I must do the very best. Karma phala I do not control. So what is the attitude? I gracefully accept whatever Ishvara gives me. So I perform karma, Ishvara decides the karma phala. Understand? There is a partnership going on. Ourselves and Bhagavan. What does Bhagavan do? He decides what the outcome is. But Swamiji, sometimes God seems to punish me. Sometimes God seems to be cruel. Sometimes God is insensitive. To explain this, I give the example of a tennis coach. Imagine that I am going for tennis classes. There is a tennis coach, the other court. I am in this court. So now there is a coach there. Sometimes he shoots a ball, it's easy that I can return. I am so happy. Next ball goes at the other end of the court. He makes me run. I reach there, he puts it this way. This fellow is very cruel. He makes me run from one end to the other, from front to backward, from this end to that end, and I get exhausted in no time. What would you like? I would like him to give proper shots. Let's throw the ball, send the ball where I am so I can return. Would it not be the right thing to do for the coach? No. What I would like is that the ball should come where I am. But the coach wants to train me. Bhagavan is coach. Ishvara is coach. He is the one that decides what the outcome of the action is. I make one shot, perform karma. He returns the shot. In what form? In the form of the outcome of the karma. Karma phala. No, he decides. He is a coach. He is not cruel. Ishvara is not cruel. He is our coach. He wants us to grow. And therefore it is likely that to encourage me, he may send me a shot where I can return. I am proud. That means I am successful. Next time you will send ball there and make me run. I may have to work very hard. I may or may not get the outcome. But that is all meant for training me. That is how we have to look at the life. So our Swami used to say, bring Ishvara into our life. Remember that Ishvara is always there as the coach. Not as someone who punishes me, but someone who wants to train me. And the one who wants to train me will not always do what I want. He will do what is right for me, not what I want. He will send a shot which is right for me, not what I want. So Ishvara also may give me what is right for me, not necessarily what I want. But if I have trust in my coach, that he is there to train me, and that's how I grow, otherwise I won't grow. Similarly, if you have trust in Ishvara, that he wants to train me, then I'll accept all results gracefully. Sometimes I easily return the shot, sometimes run around, and sometimes don't return. But a sportsman takes everything in a certain... That's called sportsman spirit, Similarly, in our life also, we take this easier said. I'm saying this because it's easy for me to say, by the way. Not easy to do, but today or tomorrow we have to do that. Swami, this is all nice for you to talk. Maybe. But unless we do that, we won't grow. And that's the only way of becoming happy. If the other way of becoming happy, we would recommend that. There is no other way of becoming happy other than to grow. Because happiness has to come from within me, not from without, and therefore the only way to become happy is to grow. And that is why the Karma Yoga is the right yoga of attitude. Attitude towards karma and attitude towards karma phala. So Karma Yoga Mukta Sangaha, he is detached, meaning that he performs karma not because there will be some personal reward, he performs karma because it's the right thing to do. Anahamvadi, not egoistic, meaning he doesn't have this kind of ego that I am performing my karma. See, we become very stressed out. In doing things, we become very stressed out. Why? Because I am the author of this karma. I have to do this. I am responsible. I am accountable. And a lot of stress comes because of that taking the ownership of that karma. If I remember that I am not the only one, in whatever I do, lot of factors are involved. That I have this knowledge is a gift to me, I have the skill that is also a gift to me, and even the opportunities there is also a lot of gift is there. So I am not the only one, lot of help is there. And therefore I am not the only performer of action. Many other factors are there with me which are helping me also. And therefore perform action with humility. Anahamvadi, not egoistic. Some ego is always there, some karma yogi still has a sense of doership. So there is some certain notion of I, not that it's totally free from ego. At the same time there is humility. When you take into account various factors involved in performing, I should understand that I'm able to deliver, give this, I communicate to you, and so many things go. So much planning has gone for these things to take place. And so much planning goes before I come. So many things are done after the talk is over. And then this will go into India and it will somewhere and some links are there, it goes. So many things are there. I just do one thing. But many people do many things before the karma is performed, while the karma is being performed, after it is performed. So to think that I am the only one that is that has to get all the credit, that's not right. I must take into account all the help I am getting. That I can talk in English language because I am taught English. I didn't know English when I was born. That I can pose before you as a very knowledgeable person and quote verses right and left. So, but that's all taught to me. I didn't know Bhagavad Gita. Some years ago I didn't know how many chapters are there in Bhagavad Gita. From that point on to this is where we are. It is how many people have contributed to that. And if I thus take into account all the contributions I have from others, what is there is sense of gratitude. Yesterday we talked about gratitude. So not ego, humility and gratitude is what we will have when we are practical, meaning that when we take into account the realistic situation. An egoistic person doesn't understand the realities of life. Egoistic person, I am doing everything. Swamiji, I am a self-made man. I have done all this. So it is, who made you? So that's also a thing to be understood or to be taken into account. Anahamvadi. Therefore, a karma yogi is humble. In fact, earlier Lord Krishna said to Arjuna in the 11th chapter, Arjuna was thinking that I have to fight this battle and how is it going to happen, who will win, who will lose. So Lord Krishna showed him in that Vishvarupa, the cosmic form, where Arjuna saw. Lord appeared before him as an embodiment of death. and in his mouth the jaws of death. All these, the soldiers of the army and all the leaders, all of them were entering into his mouth. He was scared. So why are you showing me this form, O Lord? He says, just to let you know that already battle has been taken care of. I've already done your job. You just have to get the credit. Work I have already done. Meaning, therefore, nimitta matram bhava savyasachin. Hey Sabyasachi, he Arjuna, become nimitta, become an instrument. Now, Arjuna could see, therefore, it was easy for him to understand I am an instrument. We don't see these things. But we see them when we think about them. That I am an instrument. That it's my privilege that I have been given the opportunity, that I have this knowledge, I have the skills, I have the opportunity. I should be happy and humble, enjoy that opportunity, rather than being egoistic that it's I who is doing. So anahambadi, a karma yogi is not an egoistic person, he is a realistic person. Ego is a result of the lack of understanding realities. When we understand realities, we become humble. He is an humble person. Anahambadi. Meaning he has idea of aham, but not egoistic. Dhruti utsaha samanvitaha. Dhruti means dhairya. So dhairya means fortitude. And utsaha means enthusiasm. So Lord Krishna says two things that we should have in any endeavor. One is utsaha, the enthusiasm that I will do it, I want to do it, I will do it. That utsaha is very important in accomplishing any action. If that is not there, then it's a drudgery. If the enthusiasm is not there, any karma becomes what? Just a burden, becomes a labor, becomes a drudgery. Therefore, one important thing is utsaha, enthusiasm while performing action. But Swami, what enthusiasm can you have in sweeping floor, washing dishes? What enthusiasm can you have? It's all monotonous, all laborious thing. There's no dignity. Nobody bothers. They're quiet. They're nicely talking about them and enjoying them. Here I am doing all the dishes. Nobody bothers about what I'm doing. I get no importance, no attention. How can I have enthusiasm? So yes, if that is a consideration that I should have the visibility, then it's difficult. But Ishvara is always watching me, and therefore I'm visible to him. I'm accountable to him. And therefore, whatever I have to do my dishes, utsaha. I'll do them well. Not a single stain will be left. So, utsaha samandhuti. And then obstacles will come. The water stops there in the dishwasher and this and that and so forth. So obstacles come in what we do in our life. Dhairya means that the conviction to overcome those obstacles, not submitting to obstacles, but then the ability and the commitment to overcome the obstacle, because the endeavor that I have taken in my hand is a worthwhile endeavor. Do you know it took Mahatma Gandhi 33 years, from 1914 to 47. For 33 years he worked for the freedom of India. It didn't come in overnight. How many obstacles? If you study the history of a freedom struggle, how many obstacles are there, and how they have to overcome one after the other. Because this enemy is not an enemy, but the British are very mighty people and very crooked and very cunning. Anyway, whatever it is. But it's not easy at all to fight that battle. And then he had to fight that battle on the basis of non-violence. And those fellows, no compunction at all. They could do any amount of violence. But with all this, so many obstacles. Now I'm talking about a very big project. But in our day-to-day life also obstacles come. All of a sudden a phone call came and so I have to go right away. Something has happened there, I have to leave this. My friend just walks in, starts talking to me. So, even in the day-to-day activities also, Swamiji, every time I start studying, some telephone comes, this comes, that comes. I'm ready to go to the class and some guest just steps in. He said, Shayamsi Bahu Vignani. When you want to do something good, then more obstacles will come. Anyway, so dhruti means the conviction and the ability to overcome the obstacles. Utsaha means enthusiasm to do that. Dhrutyutsaha samanvita. So, basic qualifications required to live our life, by the way. To live our life meaningfully. That there must be utsaha, enthusiasm in what I do, and dhruti, dhairya, the conviction to overcome the obstacles to reach the end. Siddhya siddhyo nirvikaraha. So nirvikara, unperturbed, undisturbed. Siddhi, success. Asiddhi, failure. There is a involved there. Siddhya siddhyoho. You see that? So that two words involved. Siddhi, asiddhyoho. That a goes into a sandhi, so you don't see it. But siddhi, asiddhi, siddhi, success. Asiddhi, failure. Now that's the reality of life. There is always a 50-50 chance of being successful or not successful. Nirvikara. Unperturbed. Meaning that accepting them gracefully. That yes, failure also is the reality of life. The Swami is difficult to accept failure. So let me draw your attention to something. Failure is not so much a problem of our life. I perform an action, action is successful, action failed. As long as success and failure are connected to action, so long I don't have a problem. You know where is the problem? Failure is not the problem. What is the problem? I am a failure. That's the problem. What makes me sad is not that action did not succeed, but I did not succeed. So this is my superimposition. Who said that? First of all, success and failure themselves are all notions in our mind. There is no success and no failure. What is karma and karma phala? There is only action and outcome of action. We choose it to call it success and failure. What is success in India? You are successful in the examination if you get 35% marks. Still, not here. Here that they will draw a curve. And so if you are in a class with bright students and then you need 85%, otherwise at 80% also you can fail. But then that's what I'm saying is success is also something arbitrary. Is it not so? What is successful is arbitrary. So if you get 45%, then only you can. You clear the exam, otherwise you don't clear the exam. Arbitrary. Success and failure are arbitrary ideas. Understand that? Subjective. You have chosen to call something success and something failure. You could choose to call that success also or failure also. So when the examination results came, one of the students was very bright and I called him to congratulate. I knew that he would have passed very well, but he was quite sad. So what happened? Swamiji, I expected 95% marks. I got 90%. Other fellow I never expected to succeed. I called him to console him. Oh, he was very enthusiastic. Swamiji, I passed. How many? I got 35%. So what is success? What is failure? Is that what one calls success and failure? So this is only a human problem. Success and failure is a problem of human being. Nobody else has this problem. And this is then complex. I am successful is a complex. I am failure is a complex. Both of these complexes are sources of unhappiness. No, Swamiji, I am successful. He is not, it's happy. It's not. It has the potential of unhappiness. Because first time I got first rank in our class, that was the 5th standard. From then on they took for granted I must get first rank now in 6th grade, all grades. Then first rank was nothing. Oh, you got first rank only in your class? How are other classes? Then you get first rank in all the classes. So failure, success also, the standard keeps on changing. We become more and more demanding to such a point that ultimately we cannot meet our own expectation and we make ourselves fail. Not that I'm not suggesting that you give up all these things, they have their own value in practical life. But as far as the understanding is concerned, success and failure are arbitrary things. Even they are not a problem. What is problem? I am successful and this is called attachment. Lord Krishna says, do not get attached to a result. Means what? Do not judge yourself based on the outcome. Successful, outcome. Failure, outcome. I am successful. Now that is called attachment. I am failure. See, nobody would explain to you this way, but understand this. What is meant, what is to be avoided, that the outcome comes, you may brand it success and failure, all right, because that is how the norms of the world are. Where the problem arises is by identifying and branding me as successful and branding me as failure. But Swamiji, everybody brands me, whether I brand or not. No, at least you can create a decision that this is their opinion. And I said, the problem is not failure, problem is I am the failure. If something becomes a problem when it gets connected to I. Until then, nothing is a problem. People die every day, no problem. Then I see the name, oh wow, this is my friend. I am standing in the balcony of my house, there is a road down, very often this, what do you call them, the funeral processions are going on, this is routine stuff. Then some familiar people, what happened? Oh, my friend died. Then it has a different effect. When I get connected, then there is an effect, or there is no effect. That's what Lord Krishna calls attachment. Say, hey, don't get attached. Don't identify with that. Don't judge, don't brand yourself. Don't judge yourself based on that. Siddhya Siddhyo, that not that Karma Yogi does not meet with success or failure. He meets with. But he does not judge himself as successful and failure. His outcome, there is action. Karta Sattvika Uchyate. He is called Sattvika Karta. That's the Karma Yogi. So these verses we have reproduced here so that you can, at home also, you can think about them, and they are very practical things. So how we have to mold ourselves. So Lord Krishna explained 3 kinds of knowledge. Jnanam karma, 3 kinds of karma. Karta, 3 kinds of karta. Now Lord Krishna wants to further classify other things. So let us read the next verse, verse number 10. On the page 5. Buddher bhedam dhruteshchaiva Gunatastrividham shrunu Prochyamanam asheshena Pruthaktveena Dhananjaya. This is verse like a preface. So Lord Krishna proposes here. It's called, in Sanskrit, it's called pratigna, proposition. Hey Arjuna, now Shrunu, listen carefully because subject matter changes, therefore now earlier subject matter is over. Now it changes, therefore listen. Buddhe Vedam Dhruteshaiva. Buddhi means the intellect, Dhruti means we just discussed the dhairya or the fortitude. There are also three kinds. Three kinds of buddhi means intellect. So intellect also is classified in three ways: sattvic, rajas, tamas. Or sattviki, rajasi, tamasi. Dhruti also sattviki, rajasi, tamasi. So Arjuna because they are also involved in performance of karma. Buddhi is involved. Because when you perform when you do anything, the buddhi is one that has first understanding must be there. Dhruti, the conviction must be there. The fortitude must be there. So these are also important components of performance of action. Therefore, Lord Krishna describes them here so that we understand what kind of buddhi we should have, what kind of dhruti we should have. So we read the next verse. Page number 6, verse 11. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha karya karye bhaya bhaye bandham moksham cha yaveti buddhissa partha sattviki. Last quarter says, Buddhi sa partha sattviki. Hey Partha, hey Arjuna. So sometimes Lord Krishna addresses Arjuna various names. Partha means Prutha Putra. Partha means son of Prutha. You know who was Prutha? Kunti. So one of the names of Arjuna's or Pandava's mother was Prutha, the daughter of Prusu. So Prutha. So, and then Parthava, or, so therefore, Buddhissa Partha Rajasi, no, Pravati Moksham Buddhims, Karya Karya Bandham Veti Buddhissa Partha. He Prutha Putra, his son of, and Prutha, he is aunt of Lord Krishna, his father's sister, sister of Vasudeva, is Kunti. His foi. So they are relatives. They are cousins, Lord Krishna and Arjuna. So there was sometimes Lord Krishna addresses them in a very affectionate manner. Hey Partha, oh my brother. Buddhissa Partha Sattviki. Hey Partha, that Buddhissa Sattviki. That is, so a person predominant in sattva has this kind of intellect. What does that intellect can do? Pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha, karya karye, bhaya bhaye, bandham moksham cha yaveti. That buddhi which knows. Understand that intellect is a special gift given to human beings. Although all creatures have intellect in their own way, they are also, Bhagavan has given mind to all creatures. Because every creature has to accomplish these four things in life. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maitunam cha, Samanyametat, Pashubhir Narana. Pashu means animals, and Nara means human beings. These four things are common. Ahara, that all of them have this hunger, so they need food. Nidra, they have got tired, therefore they need sleep. Bhaya, they need to protect themselves from fear. Maithuram is procreation. So this is common to all animals, creatures and human beings. So what distinguishes human being from other creatures? As long if a person lives life only to fulfill this, eat, drink and make merry, that life is not much different from that of an animal. But then, so ahara, nidra, bhayamaisuram cha, samanya means it's common, pasubir naranam, with animals, human beings have these in common with animals. Dharmo etesham adhiko visheshaha dharmena hiyanaha pasubis samanaha. What distinguishes this human being is dharma, which is the attribute of buddhi, righteousness, to do what is right. Because human being given the free will, he can choose to do what is wrong also. So dharmo etesham adhiko visheshaha. Dharma is a vishesha, something that is very special or unique to human beings. Dharmena hiyanaha pasubis samanaha. Those human beings who are devoid of dharma are no different from animals. Animals have no dharma. Meaning they just live on their instinct. They don't have intellect in terms of judging one way or the other, they live with their instinct. Their instincts are right, therefore they do what they do is always right. But that's not enough for us. God has given us intellect with which to understand and to judge. So judging faculty is called buddhi. Those who have studied Vedanta, so adhyavasayatmika antakarana vritti buddhi. That mode of the mind, that disposition of the mind, or that function of the mind with which one performs the judgment. So judging is the attribute of the buddhi or the intellect. Although they say, oh, don't be judgmental. But we are all judgmental. Without judgment, I cannot do anything. I have to judge you that you are listeners. So, that's the first judgment. Or when we come across somebody, we first judge them. And then only we can interact with them. Anyway, so don't be judgmental has a different meaning, but then it is the nature of buddhi or intellect to judge. Unfortunately, first thing that this does is judge itself. That's the problem. It is nature of buddhi to judge. And the first entity that buddhi judges is who, one's own self. Because that's the first thing that buddhi experiences, is the self. And then it experiences other things. So whenever I interact with you, first thing I do is to judge you. Whether you are a friend or not, you like me or don't like me, what are your intentions, all these things go on in my mind before I interact with you. So this is the nature of intellect, to judge. Buddhisa path, when the buddhi does right judgment, then that's called sattviki buddhi. That is buddhi which is a predominance in sattva, a product of sattva. Pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha, karya karye, bhaya bhaye, bandham moksham. So Lord Krishna says the buddhi is the intellect that correctly judges what is pravritti and nivritti. Pravritti means to do something. Nivritti, withdrawal. Pravritti, life of activity. Nivritti, life of withdrawal. Pravritti, to perform action. Nivritti, to renounce action. So the buddhi that has the right judgment. This is time for me to do things. Arjuna want to renounce because he thought it is easy. They say that the mountains, they are always greener, the yonder. And so what is away looks very tempting. To Arjuna, becoming a sannyasi was very tempting. At least he could escape from all these duties and stuff like that. Lord Krishna says it won't work. You will escape from here, that nature will remain with you. Somewhere you will find anyway. But so buddhi is a judging faculty. So pravritti, what should I act or not? Nivritti, withdraw from activity. Pravritti, engage in activity. So to judge, but this is this is what I should do, or I should withdraw from activity. Pravritti, action. Nivritti, renunciation. You can say that. So what is the time for renunciation? When that time comes, that also should happen. See, when you're cooking rice, for example, so your cooker is on the stove. So how long the stove will be on? More the stove is on, better the rice is it not so? No. Once rice gets cooked, the fire that was beneficial for cooking the rice, that very fire it becomes now detrimental, right? The rice will get burnt. So right time when you should switch off the stove. Is it not so? Turn off the stove. So we should know how long the stove should be on and what's the time when it should be switched off. You should not switch it off until rice is cooked. You should not keep it on such that rice gets burnt. Now, that all requires judgment, isn't it? Pravritti, nivritti. What to do or how much to do and when to withdraw. This is what buddhi has to do. No, Swamiji, we don't need buddhi, we know it. 4 whistles on the cooker, They count whistles. Okay. But someday you were judged. Someday you were 4 whistles means, there was a time when you did 3 whistles and rice was not cooked, and then 5 whistles it was overcooked, and 4 whistles rightly cooked. So pravritti and nivritti. When to do, when to withdraw. Karya, akarya. What is right to do, akarya. What is not right to do. Buddhi has to judge in this situation what is right to do and what is not right to do. Bhaya, 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 fear, abhaya, fearlessness. One should have fear where fear is called for, by the way. It is not the fearlessness, you are reckless. The snake here, be afraid. Nothing wrong in it. So keep a distance. Avoid it. So where fear is appropriate, have fear. Where not appropriate, don't have fear. So bhaya and abhaya. Doing this will cause problem to me. I must stay away from that. Abhaya, doing this will make me free. Doing this will bind me. Doing this will make me free. So bhaya, abhaya, then we should be able to judge. Bandham, moksham chayaveti. Bandham, what will cause bondage? Moksham, what will cause liberation? So we are discussing all of that. Attachment will cause bondage. Detachment will cause, bring me, take me towards liberation. Yaveti. So buddhi, we already discussed all of these in earlier verses, but that's why the idea is that we need to apply our intellect in every situation to judge this thing before we can decide what to do, what not to do, how not to do, where buddhi is required, wisdom is required. Buddhissa partha sattviki. Hey partha, that buddhi is sattviki, born of sattva, which is correctly able to judge these pravritti, nivritti, karya, akarya, bhaya, abhaya, bandha and moksha, bondage and liberation. Okay, so we'll take a break here today. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.